The Eagles secondary last year was a puzzle missing more than a couple of pieces, but this year we believe we have the right 1,000-piece puzzle assembled or in place. We'll see how the pieces fall, but I believe it'll be a beautiful masterpiece. What's up, it's your boy Cintron. Come back at you with another analysis video, and I kid you not, that's my real name. The big picture, Eagles DBs coach Christian Parker sees with player versatility. So that's the name of the game. The more you can do, the more versatile you can make the scheme, as well as the more that you can attack with. The Eagles have plenty of versatile pieces in their secondary, which should help out in 2024. So the Eagles have a bunch of players in their revamped secondary with versatility to play multiple positions. You can think about our newbie Kobe Bryant, number 8. Well, he's the oldie but newie. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he has slot versatility, but he also, he plays safety. But we know that he can do that in a pinch. Hopefully we don't need that this year, and it's not looking like we will be pressing him into those duties. It's a useful quality. So we saw that versatility a bit this spring at OTAs and minicamp, but new defensive backs coach Christian Parker thinks it will really help once the Eagles get into their schedule in September. So the early going, we want to stack up wins, especially in the easier parts of our schedule. We play our division opponents, I believe, from the mid-stretch to the last 4 weeks. I think it's either, it's 3 straight opponents in the NFC. So you want to get that rhythm going early and steal some wins, like the one in Brazil, against some tougher opponents that you might need, especially those that you might come head-to-head with in competition for the NFC conference bye week. It does, because at the end of the day, you want to get your best 11 on the field, Parker said this spring. So whatever combination we can put together with guys that understand the job, whether it be a corner to a nickel or a nickel to a safety or dime position, what have you. Yeah, and there'll be some formations that we put out there that'll deal with certain things. Like, let's just say last year, Kansas City Chiefs, we did a good job with him, but we struggled at times guarding the tight end, Travis Kelce, not having a player to exactly fit, his size and his route running prowess. Now we believe we have that, a guy who can handle him in, let's say, for example, Quinton Mitchell. He brings up plenty of speed, but he's not lacking on the athleticism as well. And he has, some adequate size. C.J. Gardner-Johnson could also be a guy, you slot there. We'll see whether Sidney Brown hits his ground running, but he's taking mental reps. It's not the same, but he was slated to be a player that would have improved if he hadn't had to deal with an injury. So the more guys that you have an overall knowledge of what we're doing, then the better you can be, because we can change from package perspective, personnel-wise, down to down. So exactly what I'm talking about. So they bring out 21 personnel. We have something to counter that. They bring out 11 personnel. You have something to counter that. So everything the offense wants to do, you have something to take that away, mitigate it, or to turn their supposed strength into your own, a weakness for them. Hopefully. And then we can also move different pieces around based on the opponent we're playing each week. So yeah, the Green Bay Packers, they offer a quadra receivers, quintuple of guys that can all get the job done. And having personnel to go with that, you might want to go DB heavy. And they do have a running back as well. So guys that can also hit, Quinton Mitchell offers size, but he isn't losing that much when it comes to to the size department, but he has a speed, but he has good solid tackling ability. So you don't want guys out there that are going to be a liability either in pass coverage or not being versatile enough to be able to to be a liability out there when the offense gets out there and they try to match pieces to take advantage of those spots. But this is a message that was clearly passed on to rookies Cooper DeJean and Quinton Mitchell this spring, because both of them, especially DeJean, spoke about how knowing each position in the secondary will help them in whatever role they end up. So we've been seeing Cooper at the slot nickel position, and like I said, Quinton at the dime. So it was believed he would be coming in and pressing. I mean, he's competing for that number 2 spot, but most likely veteran's going to win that. Rodgers, if not Rodgers, maybe Ringo. But, he's not out of the running, but he won't be relegated to the bench status if he does not win the job. So he'll be able to come out and be productive for us and show off that versatility that we're so in vogue with. We're so in love with. That's in vogue. So while it's obviously helpful to have players who can handle multiple spots, for the eventuality that injuries occur, cross-training is a function that the Eagles think can help them even if everyone stays healthy. So that's the key. Versatility. You want to be able to roll out different packages regardless of what the offense is doing. You want to be able to dictate on defense, not have them always dictating you. You're on the defense. I mean, pun intended. You are, but you want to be able to control what they're doing, have them be reactive instead of you always being the one who's running around like a chicken with their head cut off. So the Eagles have a designated cornerbacks coach, Roy Anderson, and a safeties coach, Joe Casper, and this is the first time in a while that we've had that. So it really makes a clear delineation on what we want to do. We want to have those guys individually coached so that, yes, they're out there together, but they're getting the specific details they need to succeed at their specific position. Working under Parker, but there's a reason they spend so much time together as a complete secondary. We meet together and we start individual together before we disperse in different technical development. Parker said, I think that is important and understand. Darius Slay is hearing what Reed Blankenship is getting coached on. Isaiah Rodgers is hearing what we were telling Ty Lockett at nickel, what have you. Those guys have to understand the difference in the job descriptions and where their help is and where it isn't. So this was the de facto issue in the Eagles secondary last year. Communication. Communication with you guys up front. The front seven communicating with the back seven. I'm sorry, the back four, and then those guys being able to direct traffic. Hey, what are you doing? Cross up here, and them not knowing their position fully and not knowing what other guys are doing. So they're playing out of position, they're trying to farm the next man's land, and they end up being a unruly tenant, get kicked out by the offense, and it was just chaos. Simple things like banjo. We had, in some games and a few spots, but we were still struggling with that in the latter half, the later games in the year. And you're like, what the hell is going on here? Why the hell are we struggling with this basic stuff, communication? These guys are so filled with, knowledge, information that they're being overloaded. They can't trust what their eyes are seeing, and they're telling them not only communication with themselves, amongst themselves, but the communication with their own bodies, and they're out there being reactive, purely reactive, instead of being instinctual and be able to move like their bodies, have been trained to do. So, it's just a huge, huge issue. And, apparently it was the coordinator, Sean Desai, overloading things and not communicating, with the guys, effectively enough. So, that fell on him, but, his pieces, let's be honest. If he had the guys he had this year, he would do a much better job, because he did a bang-up job in certain spots and in a handful of games. The Rams game comes to mind. The Dolphins game comes to mind. The first quarter of the 49ers game, things were working, but, we just ran out of talent. And the guys that were here, they were truly free agents. They weren't part of the Eagles organization to begin with. And different mindsets, trying to pursue their own goals, pursue their own, by their own means, undisciplined tacklings and such. So it was just a mess, man. But now we have guys here that are bought in, guys that have been here and rebuilding and under leadership of someone who knows what the hell he's doing, and he's the progenitor of the scheme we've been using, piecemeal for the past 2 seasons. And it's going to be a whole different ball game, and coaching from the top down. He's got guys, Vic Fangio, like this guy Christian Parker, who know his scheme, who he trusts, who are good teachers, who know how to do their job. So night and day, last year versus this year. Aside from great understanding of the defense as a whole, having players who can play multiple spots from snap to snap can help the Eagles trip up opposing offenses. We've just been talking about this. So, being able to be multiplicitous and, sub guys in and out, depending on down distance and what they're trying to do, the strengths of what we believe they're gonna be after, with different formations and different motions and such. So we have the personnel to counter, their moves. But having someone who knows how to adeptly attack and break down and put us in the best position to succeed and highlight the strengths of those guys is a whole different story. So here's what Parker said about working under defensive coordinator Vic Fangio again. I think me and him see the game very similar, just in terms of limiting explosive plays and having different ways that the defense looks the same but can be different. So that's kind of what Kellen Moore wants to do on offense. So many different formations and they look the same, but you can do so many things out of it. Same thing on defense, having the same personnel out there, but this guy can play nickel. This guy can play the slide. He can play safety. He can even be linebacker. You don't know what he's going to do. Having guys out there, multiple guys that can be joker pieces that can be used as an attack dog, used as a coverage guy, used as a quasi blitzer. Like the less of a beat that offense can get on you, obviously the more you're going to be able to be successful in your attack because you're less predictable. So the illusion of being complex down in and down out, I think that's something that I believe in with him. So yeah, exactly. And it's not always about, like you said, bringing pressure, simulated pressure, and having guys that actually do that. Because last year we had guys who were in the gap and then they couldn't fall back into their zones. Devin White, that's not an issue. The guy runs a 4.42 coming into the league coming out of LSU. He has no problem covering ground, but when he falls short, there'll be someone up there to back him up. Whether it be our secondary guys or his running mates in the linebacker crew, Zach Bond or N'Kobe Dean. So everybody being a piece of the puzzle to make the whole picture complete. The illusion of being complex, that's a lot easier when you have a bunch of different players who can line up at different spots in the secondary, just what we were talking about. So who are these players? During the spring, Dijon worked at both outside corner and nickel corner. He also seems to have the skills to play safety with the Eagles. Everyone triumphed there. So that would maybe be a long-term prognosis. The best bang for our buck would be to get him out there on the corner and see if he can apply it straight. So Avonte Maddox played both nickel corner and safety this spring and has been a starting outside corner before. I put outstanding, so that's on me. But, he played it adequate, before we figured out that he's better in the slot. C.J. Gardner-Johnson began his career as a nickel corner, but as a starting safety now with the Eagles. So those guys all have that versatility. Like I said, Sidney Brown last year got some time in the slot. Darius Slay has been there at times, just to cover CeeDee Lamb and to follow assignments. Follow Justin Jefferson, I think 2002 he really did. James Bradbury, safety, but he probably won't even be here. But, the more you can do, the better. Those guys will be all over the place. Isaiah Rodgers, we have no idea, but, he's played there at modicum. But, a majority of the snaps, we have no idea how that would look for him and for us. Those three pieces appear to be very movable in the Eagles defense, so they could be those chess pieces we were talking about. Here's what Parker said about each of them and their roles. I think Coop is very versatile. I think he plays with good vision to the ball. I think he has good ball skills. I think we're kind of in that process now. We moved him around a little bit. He can handle it mentally. I think as we move on in his phase right now, get to training camp, he'll have a home. But he's playing corner, he's playing nickel, he's handling those things well. We'll continue to put more things on his plate and see how he handles it. So, aiming not to overload the young guy, but, he's shown a propensity for being able to do it. Oh, okay. It's not just the Iowa, tape. It transfers over, so good to see that. Good to hear that. Avonte Maddox, number one. He's played a lot of football, and he's played in different schemes from Jim Schwartz to Jonathan Gannon to Sean Desai last year, and now this. He sees the game very well, and I think his movement skills give you kind of a plus coverage guy back there. There are a lot of jobs that are similar between the nickel and safety position, depending on coverage, and then even the jobs that aren't similar. So same with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, similarities between the nickel and safety, which is why it was kind of astounding his transition that he made, but he was natural at it. It makes sense. Different coverage in space, just in different alignment. You're kind of confined in a nickel, or safety is just a wide swath of space you're kind of responsible for, and you got to figure out how to farm that land, so to speak. He's very welcome sorry. Safety has been on the nickel to do something, so when you've been down there, you kind of see it from a different frame of mind. He's very welcoming to that. He wants to be a versatile player, levels in that regard, and he's done a good job. So, yeah, I think he'll be the emergency fourth safety for us until, we pick up a guy. I don't know if he will, but, I think he's fine for that role. But the only question is, can he stay healthy? Gardner Johnson, I think that he's definitely started a lot of games at multiple spots. He's been able to impact the ball at multiple spots as well. Man, the guy gets his hand on balls. Pause. For Gardner Johnson right now, he's at safety. We know he has the ability to play other positions too. As we gradually move forward, we'll see that we'll figure that out. The safety position in this defense is demanding from a communication standpoint. Really, that's the primary job, and then we get to the secondary job after that. So, yeah, like I said, communication is very important, and definitely for someone who's the last line of defense and who should be able to line guys up. We'll see how he continues his career in Philly, because it's kind of patchwork. 1 year on, 1 year off, and then now back. But he's back for multiple years now, 3-year, $33 million deal. So I believe in him. But anyways, what are your thoughts? But I know that you didn't even make it here, so it's all good, because I know that you're not even watching though, but it's all good. Feeding myself, because I do that. But we'll chunk the deuces officially and get the fuck out of here. But hey, I love making videos about the Eagles, and I love talking about them boys. So let's chunk the deuces officially. But as always, it's fly Eagles fly, and let's motherfucking go.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you
Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.